Hello everyone and welcome back. Today I want to talk about something very important in dance, but also in music in general, which is rhythm. I got this idea from a comment that Baldwin left on my last video, and they asked me, did you play an instrument as a child or something? How come your sense of rhythm is so good? And as I answered, yes, I did play the recorder when I was a kid, but I don't know if that's the main reason. Because, well, there are actually a lot of activities that involve having a good sense of rhythm, such as dancing, even if I didn't dance back then, but also just listening to music if you do something like moving your head up and down, or there are also a lot of games that involve doing something periodically at the right moment. Or it could also be a matter of genetics, of course. Anyways, since this is a dance channel, let's talk about the problem with dancing to the beat. Well, the main problem is that if you can't dance to the beat, unless someone tells you, you may not realize that you are off beat. Because to realize that you are off beat, you need to have a good sense of rhythm. And that's why I came up with this very quick test. But before we move on, I wanted to make something very clear. So, in order to have a good sense of rhythm, you need to have two completely different abilities. The ability to understand the rhythm and the ability to follow the rhythm. And since they are completely independent, you would need two different tests. However, when it comes to electro swing music, which is what this channel is about, well, since understanding the rhythm is usually very simple, because it's pretty obvious, well, I decided to make a test on the other aspect, which is on the ability to follow the rhythm. Now, the test is all about stopping a chronometer at every full second, so at 300, 400, 500, and so on. Now, of course, this is just a test, and it's very different from dancing to the beat. Because, well, first of all, here the stimulus is visual, it's not auditory, and, of course, well, clicking a button is way easier than performing a dance step. So this test just tells you how well you can be in sync with something periodical when you are at your best, because you only have to click a button. So keeping this in mind, let me tell you how this works. First of all, you take a digital chronometer, for example I use the Apple one, and you run it to see how fast these seconds pass, basically. And when you are ready, you have to use this other button that doesn't actually stop the chronometer, but it tells you what time it was when you clicked it. And make sure to check if this button tells you the time when you press it, or in this case when you release it. Okay? And you wanna release it in this case when you get a full second, so at 29, 30, 31, 32. So you keep it pressed and then you release it at every full second. And you do it 8 times. So for example, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, okay, more or less like this, 8 times, 8 consecutive times. So let me give you just a quick demonstration, and well, I usually wait 8 seconds, but you can choose. And so I run it and I wait for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you stop it, and then you see how good your time was. And here maybe I should make a screenshot, so let me do this. And then a screenshot so you can see it better. And let me put it on the screen. Now, once you've done it, you just need to calculate each time the absolute difference between your time and the correspondent full second. For example, in my case, my first run is 8:96, which is 4 centiseconds from 9:00, which is the full second, and so we write down 4. Then we have 10:01, which is 1 centisecond from 10:00, and so we write 1. And then we have 3, 2, 1, 0, 1, and 4. And now you just need to sum up all these numbers. In my case we get 16, and this is your score. Of course, the lower it is, the better it is. Now, well, of course you can keep your score as it is, but if you want to have a better idea, you can also divide it by 8 to get the average difference. And if you're not satisfied yet, you can also use this formula. So you subtract from 100 twice the average difference to get your percentage accuracy, where 100% means it's perfect and 0% means it's very, very bad. Now, I made that you have to subtract twice the average difference because in this case, if you do something like 350 as a time, you get 0% accuracy, which makes sense because, well, if you stop it at 350, which is exactly in the middle between 300 and 400, well, it's completely offbeat, so it makes sense that you get 0% accuracy. Anyways, I also made you a table so you can evaluate how good your score is. And if it is under 20, it's excellent because you have an accuracy which is over 95%. And if it is between 20 and 40, it's still good because you are over 90%. And if it's between 40 and 60, you're okay, you're probably average. If it is between 60 and 80, it's pretty bad because people will start noticing that you are slightly offbeat. And if it is over 80, I'm sorry, but people will definitely notice that you are offbeat because you are over 10 centiseconds average off, and well, people will notice it. But even if you got a bad score, don't worry, because first of all, it's just a test, and second, like any other test, you first have to get used to it. And I noticed that after 5 to 10 tries, your results will become way more consistent, and so they are also way more meaningful. So make sure you try it at least 5 times. Then another thing I wanted to talk about is how reliable this test actually is, and to find out I tried it probably over 100 times during this week, and most of the times, I'd say about 90% of the times, I got a score between 10 and 30 with an average of about 20. So I'd say that it is pretty reliable. Yeah, well, of course you don't get every time the same result, but the range is not so big. But of course there can be some exceptions. For example, my lowest score was 6, and I know it sounds crazy, I'll put the screenshot here, but if you think about it, it's a record. It's a record on a test that I did over 100 times. So it makes sense. And I also did some math to find out how lucky I was. So assuming that this score follows a normal distribution, considering that my average score is about 20 and that I got between 10 and 30 about 90% of the times, I estimated a sigma value of 6, which means basically that the probability to get such a low score is about 1%, which makes complete sense because I did it over 100 times, and so, well, one time I got 6. So to sum up, I'd say that this test should be pretty reliable, and so you can use it to see how good your timing is, more or less. Just make sure to do it many times. Now let's end with the most important question of the day, which is, can you improve your syncing ability? And well, I don't know how much genetics have a role in this because, well, I know that some people, for example, have perfect pitch, and I don't know if something like perfect sync exists. If you know, let me know in the comment section. But I'm pretty confident that you can improve your syncing ability. You just have to do a lot of activities where you have to be in sync with something. So I'd say that you are done for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and see you in the next one.